Something that I would say, I mean, it's different because I'm an education major and this is obviously with dance, but something that I've seen in the classroom that I think I struggle with and a lot of teachers struggle with is kind of a one-size-fits-all method. A kind of like, if you see this, that means this, and this is how you adapt to that, and that's effective. And I just think that's a really poor way of going about it. Every student, every dancer, every kid is so different, even if they have the same disability. Even if you find that, oh, this kid with autism, this really works for him and this is how he can understand it, you should never see another child with autism and say, since that worked for them, that's obviously the way to do it. So that'd be my first advice, just making sure that you're very, very intentional about every student's different and finding what works for them. Secondly, I'd say monitoring and adjusting. It goes along with that, but just constantly, you have to be so aware because there could be one kid in the third row and it'd be so easy to not realize that they just don't step up on it. So constantly looking at every kid and seeing if they're on beat, and that can just be an early sign of oh, they might have dyslexia or dysgraphia because they're constantly doing the move the opposite way, things like that. And the last thing, I know that we should, as teachers and as instructors, be picking up on this stuff on our own, but I do think parent communication is key. I think that having a relationship with parents is good just as an individual, let alone with a student with disabilities. So I would say constantly just asking them. You don't need to sit down with every parent and say, does your child have a disability? That's obviously not what I mean, but constantly communicating with them of your child's really good at this, what is he like, what is she like, what are they good at? And a mom who's had this kid for 18, 19, 7, 8, 9 years is going to know so much more to give you wisdom on how to best serve them. So that's what I would say.